Your Excellencies, welcome, and thank you so much for joining us this morning. Mr. Al-Masroui, I think I'll start with you. Tomorrow, a historic election in the United States, two candidates who present very, very different energy plans for the United States and for the world. Donald Trump has suggested that he's moving from energy independence to energy dominance. If he wins the election, what does that mean for the UAE's energy strategy and for OPEC+?
Well, it's great to be back to ADIPEC at the 40th anniversary, and we are so delighted to have everyone participating with us. Of course, we will be discussing energy, not politics here, and I'd rather not to talk about the election in the United States. That's a political matter. We wish all of the both candidates the best, but I think let's talk about the role of energy and the need for investments in energy. For us, we've been saying this over and over in the previous ADIPECs, and we will say it again. Dr. Sultan just mentioned it. We will need every source of energy for the growth demand. AI and data centers was not anticipated to take that huge demand, or to take demand from the electricity. We were just worried about the normal demand. Now with that pressure, I think we would need more energy. The lack of investments in the oil and gas need to be taken care of, and I would like to say that our leadership here in the United Arab Emirates have thought of the future as always, and we are committed to invest in bringing more resources in the future to ensure that the world have adequate oil and gas resources. At the same time, we are also expanding our investments in the renewable energy, and we are very excited about certain improvements in the batteries, and that will enable us to showcase to the world new frontiers in bringing sustainability and future availability for renewable energy. We're not satisfied with 24%. I think with the batteries we can increase that to hopefully one day 100%, and that's what we are aiming to do here in the UAE to help the whole world. We are privileged with a leadership that believes in investments in energy, all forms of energy, and His Highness, our President, Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed, is a visionary leader for the role of the different forms of energy, and as you can see it here in the Emirates, we are investing in all. We are investing in renewable, nuclear, conventional, and that commitment will continue.
Your Excellency, as Dr. Sultan mentioned in the gathering yesterday, there was a lot of conversation, some of it a bit heated, about what that energy mix is going to need to look like in order to power AI, power the data centers. In your mind, what role does the UAE play in committing that kind of energy to the growth of tomorrow?
Well, one thing for sure, we will be tripling the capacity of renewable energy. That's at least. Now, we are looking as well to more renewable energy if we are going to shift from 24% availability to 100% availability. That would require us to look differently at the installed capacity, as we will be storing that energy, not using it during the daytime. And that is going to be a game changer for those countries with massive areas. And I think whatever we are doing here in the Emirates, we're not doing it only in the Emirates. We are working, I can tell you, in more than 40 countries, from Africa to Central Asia to the world, where we are promoting renewable energies. We are putting investments, and we have shown those countries how that transformation is and what benefits it brings to their economies. And every country, I know His Highness Sheikh Mansour travels to Central Asia, and every time we go, they thank our leadership on those projects that they are doing there. And those are countries which are relying solely on oil and gas. Today, with the likes of Masdar doing massive projects there, they believed in the transformation, and we are doing more. Now we are expanding to the east, to the global south, and we will do much more as we move on. So investment in renewable energy is number one. Nuclear, we have this year, the fourth unit have joined. Now we are a fully operational program of nuclear, and it has been amazing journey. This is the fastest nuclear program, peaceful nuclear program that has been done all over the world. So that also brings excitements. Now we are learning about data centers, and we will make sure that we have enough investments to cater for the AI, as we are intending to play a key role here in the Middle East and worldwide in the AI. So definitely you will see more projects. I will not say everything here. We will phase them, and today also we have a government summit where we will be discussing the future, and I'm sure with our leadership, the future is going to be bright.
And just to add to that, there was some discussion in the last few days about AI, the energy mix that will be required to satisfy that demand, and whether or not coal could potentially be even more necessary as a result of how quickly AI is moving and how much energy it needs. Does that worry you?
I think if you talk to anyone who is doing a data center, they will ask you, they ask me and they ask every energy minister for green energy. So the demand is more on green energy for AI, not for coal. And I think it depends on the grid. Some of the countries, they have managed to clean up their grid. Here, I can tell you in Abu Dhabi, we have the cleanest grid in the Middle East, with a carbon intensity of around 0.27 kilograms of CO2 as a carbon intensity. And that's, compared to the world average, is probably half. So we already have a clean grid because of the nuclear, because of the renewable energy. And as we are tripling the capacity, that grid is going to be cleaner and cleaner in the future. So if you are a company looking for an investment in a cleaner data center or cleaner energy for a data center, I think you'll find that many of those comes to the UAE, comes to Abu Dhabi, due to the fact that we have the already invested and have the cleanest grid in the Middle East.
Minister Puri, one of the things that perhaps differentiates India from perhaps OPEC members is that you are very, very consumer focused, and you need to find secure and equitable energy for your people. When you look at what's happening today in the United States, two candidates with widely different energy plans, President Trump suggesting he wants to flood the market, drill baby drill. We hear that a lot on the campaign trail. Is that music to your ears? That means more energy on the market and potentially cheaper?
I would like to think it's a little more complicated than that. Let me start by making the observation that as a student of history, it's all about continuity and change. Today, we are celebrating the 40th anniversary of this platform. The global energy situation 40 years ago was very different from the situation today. And it's likely to be very different in 10, 20 years from now. I think the Sultan Jaber put it very well when he said that energy is the spinal cord of an economy. I normally say it's the lifeline of an economy, but I think that's a more graphic and more apt way of putting it. And we are talking about the global south. And I would like to submit that in this discussion, we sometimes forget where the global south and the kind of problems the global south has to face. A country with which I am more familiar, India, I can tell you that we are using today artificial intelligence for refinery automation. We are using artificial intelligence for 2D and 3D seismic surveys. We are for finding oil and gas. We are using low-cost solar energy in a way to boost our power and our data centers. Again, to quote Sultan Jaber, if you make a Google search, you consume a certain amount of energy. If you go to ChatGPT, it's many times that. If you look at the kind of energy that is being required in our data centers and what we are likely to inside, that gives you the direction. Today, we have a population of 1.4 billion people. Every day, 67 million people. I repeat the figure, 67 million people go to the retail outlets to charge different kinds of vehicles with petrol, diesel, battery swapping, and a series of other activities. We see the energy situation in the mainstream now that we will continue to fast develop. Our biofuels blending is nearing 20% by next year. Our compressed biogas is moving very fast. We are stepping on the accelerator for green hydrogen, okay? That will require, again, clean, low-cost solar energy. So going forward, and clean cooking gas, we provide it to our customers, and we have, for a family of 4 or 5, they can consume cooking gas if they are beneficiaries of a scheme for 7 cents a day. If they are not, 14, 15, 16 cents a day. Today, India is one country where the price of energy has actually come down in the last 2 or 3 years. Because today we have to frontally address the trilemma of availability, affordability, and sustainability. And I think unless you do all three, you're going to be left out. But that brings me back. Are we in a position to opt for one or the other? I have great difficulty with those of my ideologically motivated colleagues who said many years ago that let's stop all investment in the traditional energy. Well, you saw some problems arising there. Today, in order to make the transition, we have to survive the present, accelerate the transition. And I think when you get global shocks, the transition also becomes faster. But I think this kind of discussion, which covers all the energy, particularly the clean energy, tying it to the climate debate, and making sure that they coexist in a harmonious way for the next 20 years. Because I see all of them being, as we accelerate on the green energy transition, we will still need affordable traditional fuels at least for 2 decades, if no longer. And I think the global south, many countries there, my colleague Ines mentioned some parts of the geographical thing, they don't have clean cooking gas, for instance. And they're still using, even highly developed countries are still not using that. So you need to ensure that all forms of energy are made available to the consumer, because that is the primary imperative which, governments have to face.
Minister Badawi, just a quick one on Egypt specifically. Natural gas production is a lifeline for your economy, but we've noticed a noticeable decline in that production over the last several years. We've just been talking about how crucial gas will be to the transition, as well as to the future of AI and productivity. How quickly are you going to be able to reverse that trend in terms of the natural gas production in Egypt?
Very good. Thank you very much. First of all, I would like to extend really my thanks really to your Highnesses really for holding really this 40th edition of ADIPEC. And really, when we look at Egypt, I would like to first kind of mention that Egypt has a market with 110 million people, and really, when we're looking at Egypt's role in the energy domain, I would like really to pick up on a word that Dr. Sultan Jaber mentioned about really collaboration, partnerships, and how we can all work together and take actions. So Egypt's position, as a regional hub from a location perspective, provides its ability to enable it to be able to contribute its infrastructure in the petrochemical sector, in the refining sector, and as well in the LNG export sector, right, whereby we have capacity for export of gas, right, with 12 million tons, right, per year. We have refining capabilities of 40 million also tons, and at the same time we have over 10 complexes on the petrochemical front. So when we look at the situation in Egypt, we would like to really kind of leverage the position of Egypt to be able to unlock the potential of the gas reserves, not only of Egypt, but actually of the region and of the Mediterranean, to be able to provide the facilities to either provide it as an export conduit to be able to be monetized in other markets, be it in Europe or in the West, or at the same time of how actually this gas can also be used as feedstock in the petrochemical sector to be able to provide value-added derivatives, which are also very critical in many parts, right, of the sectors, right, that influence the economic growth, not only in Egypt, but actually for the rest of the world, and at the same time provide as well a market, right, for this gas to be able to be utilized. And Egypt has been obviously going through a transition period, right, a transition period in terms of decline of activity on the exploration front and on the production of gas. However, we are really working very focused in terms of taking actions in terms on energy reforms that we're actually working with really our partners in terms on how we can ensure that we foster an environment which is conducive to accelerate investments in production from existing fields, and at the same time also accelerate exploration to be able to identify new potentials, right, for gas, for the benefit of Egypt, for the benefit of the region, and also for the benefit of re-enablement actually of exports. And at the same time, those energy reforms really are actually entailed in terms on practical matters, which entails looking at the price of gas, looking at the terms on incentives of cost recovery mechanisms, right, for our partners operating right on the production and on the exploration, and essentially how we can really work to make sure that we lower the cost, per barrel for our partners, how we can lower the cost, per standard cubic feet of gas, produced for our partners, whether on the production front or on the exploration front, and how we can also do that with a lower carbon intensity, because again, it is going to be obviously very important that we do that in a sustainable way. So those are part of some of the initiatives that we're actually ongoing now, collaborating with our partners to really kind of increase the production of gas in Egypt and of oil, and at the same time of also how we can help our partners through collaborations with our partners in the region to be able to monetize their gas reserves, leveraging the infrastructure which exists in Egypt for the benefit of of the whole energy population from demand. The other element which is very important is that Egypt today has 60% of its gas is going actually to power stations actually to produce electricity. And last summer we actually reached a peak of demand actually of electricity of 39 gigawatts of power that has been, which is record high. And this is why there's active really work and collaboration ongoing, at the level of the government and also with my, colleague and partner, the Minister of Electricity and Renewable, of how we can really work together to really kind of work on an energy mix, which is really favorable to enable actually the gas to be able to be used for value-added, derivatives, that are required for, products, and to increase the renewable content, right, in Egypt, and we've accelerated the target to reach 42% of renewable by 2030 in this regards, which is very good for the environment and which is very good again for also, the availability of green power, whether it is for AI data centers or whether it is for green, hydrogen and so forth, but also for enabling the gas to be able to be used where it is best fit for value-added derivatives, both for Egypt and as well for the rest of our partners in the region and around the Mediterranean.
And Dr. Ruth, I want to bring you in at critical minerals. Obviously, the conversation surrounding AI, the conversation surrounding chips, it's about securing energy, but it's also securing the critical minerals that are necessary for this transition. Uganda has those critical minerals, and a lot of people want them. In your mind, what role is Uganda going to play going forward?
Thank you very much, Madam Hadley Gamble. I'd like to begin by appreciating the invitation for Uganda to come and participate in this session. I have been coming. This is my 4th time, and I'd like to take this opportunity to congratulate my brother, Dr. Sultan Ahmad, the chairman of COP28. We worked together at COP28, and I appreciate the contribution and the guidance that you gave us. I also want to congratulate you being a minister in charge of advanced technology. Your submission today has indicated that all of us have got a role to play. Uganda's participation, I think, will be basically to exploit the potential that we'll have in power generation, because the advanced technology, as you chose to call it, requires presence of power and clean power. And Uganda is one of those countries that have her generation energy mix comprised of basically clean energy from hydropower and also from solar. We also have potential for nuclear. I've heard you mention about nuclear energy. And so we can contribute in making sure that we exploit the presence of the sources of renewable energy in Uganda. On the 26th of September, we commissioned the largest hydropower plant, underground hydropower plant in Africa. This is Karuma, generating 600 megawatts. He also mentioned about the criticality of power storage, and this is where Uganda's mineral potential comes in, to make sure that the critical minerals that we need to produce the batteries that can assist in power storage. Uganda has discovered numerous deposits of those critical minerals: the lithium, the cobalt, the graphite, nickel, and the best quality. We have iron ore. All these minerals are very critical. And our policy, investment policy, is open to everybody to come and invest in Uganda. You bring your money, you invest it, you take it. For as long as you have paid taxes, you take it. The language in Uganda that is spoken is the almost international language, English. So we do have those minerals, and we have the laws in place that protect you, but also protects us. You are not supposed to export unprocessed minerals. We want value addition to be done in Uganda, so that Ugandan people can also benefit in the technology transfer. This is how we can participate. So if you came and invested in Uganda, you will meet a very conducive environment where we have trainable forces, trainable human resource, and also amiable people. I want to congratulate you, Dr. Sultan, for the open environment that you have created for Uganda to participate. My president visited here, I think, 2 times, and we have partnered, and as I speak now, on the refinery, on the upstream development from our petroleum resources. A company that is going to develop our refinery is a company from UAE. This is Alpha MBM LLC. And we are discussing, we are soon signing the project implementation framework. And very soon, they will be on the ground to begin on the development of the refinery. Why do I mention the refinery? Again, it's because we have associated gas that is going to come out of this refinery. And I've heard you talk about the importance of gas. Gas is in Uganda, and the last point I would like to make is that recently we have signed a purchase and supply agreement with, again, another company from UAE, the Global Gases Group, where they are going to manufacture gas cylinders in Uganda, and they will be supplying 500,000 gas cylinders every year, paid for by government, for free distribution to the people of Uganda to utilize gas cylinders with associated accessories. So Uganda is aligned to the importance of advanced technology, and would like to partner with you for that technology transfer so that it's a win-win. It's a win-win venture for both
Your Excellency,
of us.
thank you so much for that. And thank you to our panelists, a great panel about the energy transition and the new global leaders leading that transition. Thank you.